You're very welcome back. Now, January is, of course, a time for new beginnings. So if you're single and looking for love, it's the perfect excuse to put yourself out there into the big, bad and often daunting world of dating.
Here with some practical tips to help you land the man or woman of your dreams are dating experts Rena Maycock and Feargal Harrington of Intro Matchmaking. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, guys.
Morning.
Simon is gone, by the way, ladies. Before you get your hopes up, he's not on the market. We'll just make that clear.
And neither are you, by the way.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
We were just saying, I think the last time we had a chat with yourself, Rena, was January. So it is the time where people think to themselves, right, this is a new year, new start.
Absolutely. New Year's resolutions. I don't want to be in this position this time again next year. I mean, certainly when we come back after the Christmas, there's hundreds of voicemail messages and emails from people at, times on Christmas Day, for instance. And they just kind of say to themselves, look, although Christmas is a time for being with family and friends and people get very busy with their calendar and all that kind of thing, they just say, I'm happy with my life, but I really would like to share it with somebody and I don't want to be here this time next year, so I'm going to do something about it. So it's a bit like going to the gym and saying, I want to lose a few pounds. I really want to meet somebody.
It's that proactive
And you were
time.
saying as well before we came on air that, Feargal, your clientele is all ages, all social classes, all different backgrounds.
Literally, yeah. 21 to 85 and everything in between. Single, separated, divorced, widowed, doctors, lawyers, farmers, rugby players, musicians, you name it. But it's hard for everyone in every section of society to meet the right person. So I suppose people like privacy and confidentiality in Ireland, and they want to know that their business is being kept fairly confidential. So,
But are there universal guidelines regardless, or is each case looked at individually in terms of, well, you need to go out more or stay in more, or what way do you deal with your clients when they come into you?
Well, with everybody, I mean, I suppose there's a broad spectrum of people, and each of them are kind of, on their own for their own reasons. But the same thing applies to everybody. You need to get active, get out there. When we organise dates, we have a full service agency, so we organise the entire date. So we interview you, then we go to the business of matchmaking you. We find someone that's suitable for you. We call you with their profile. If you want to meet, we organise the date. We don't pass on phone numbers, so it's totally private. And the reason we do that is because people don't want to have to deal with the awkwardness if the date doesn't go all that well. So we hold everyone's hand throughout the whole process. So that's a universal thing across everybody. They just like that they don't have to do anything themselves, really, that the entire thing is looked after for them.
So you meet a client, they come to you and you do an interview on a one-to-one basis to find out exactly what they're looking for ultimately.
Precisely, yeah. And to see if they have reasonable expectations and if we can meet them.
But also what they're looking for from a relationship.
Exactly,
Are they looking for friendship, or are they looking for a husband or a wife?
it might be companionship if they're in their 70s or 80s. It might be companionship, someone to go to a show or go out for dinner or whatever it might be. But then obviously in the 20s and 30s, a lot of people are looking for that serious long-term relationship. And it's hard to know when you're going online or meeting people in bars what the intentions of the other person is. So it's nice to know when they join something like Intro Matchmaking that everyone had to go through the same amount of effort and that they know their intentions are honourable, and therefore you know that you're putting yourself into a smaller pool of more serious people. That's why.
So you have a checklist here which will pop up on screen and throughout this, but I love the first one. Do something.
Do something.
Yeah. Procrastination
is
the biggest issue.
Virgil's big bugbear, because we would, an awful lot of time, we would hear from people that saw us maybe years ago on TV, and they would have thought about it and thought about it and thought about it. And we keep records of people that call us, and they may have called us 4 or 5 times throughout the years. And Feargal will then talk to them, and they'll be like, OK, I'll have a think about that, and I'll give you a call back.
At which point he goes, would you stop thinking about it?
Yeah. Well, that's it. As if some divine intervention is going to come through after the phone call.
You are the divine intervention.
You're very kind. But no, seriously, they will ring. I mean, one guy rang me and he said, now, Feargal, I'm fed up chatting to our lads on the bar stools about heads of cattle and sheep. And I want to meet someone. I'm 36. I want to settle down. I want to get married, have kids, and the whole shebang. I said, of course, no problem. That's grand. Well, then let's organise a meeting. He was in Kerry, and so he said, "Oh, sure, all right, okay." So, and I said, "Now you'll have to meet us wherever." And he said, "All right. You see, I'm looking for a woman between Sneem and Kenmare because I work along that in Kinmare, but I live in Sneem, you see. So I'd like to meet a woman along that stretch of road.
Yeah.
So I said, well, now, on the one hand, Paddy, you can't be saying that you want a woman and you want marriage and kids, and in the next breath, not be willing to make any effort.
Has to be from that street.
Exactly.
Yeah.
along that street.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, he listened eventually, and he went out on a few dates, and he met that woman, and he's married now with kids. Not to a woman along that
Was
stretch
she
of
from
road.
the parish?
No.
Was she from the parish?
No, she wasn't.
He went outside the parish.
Yes, he decided that maybe it's better to meet someone who
Good
actually
one.
is suited to me.
Yes.
A county over, no less.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
full
yes.
county
So
over.
it requires effort.
But it ties into your next one, which is have hope.
Yeah, I mean, we looked into this. We set up an online dating site. So what we did was we did a bit of research just to see what attitudes to dating were. And we just found that 52% of single 25 pluses felt they would never meet their special someone. 52%, I mean, that's staggering. That's, you know, it implies really that people have lost hope before they've even begun their dating experience, because realistically, people don't get serious about dating until they're kind of over 25. So, you know, it goes to show that if there's half of the people that are out there and they're available, because there are 2 million available people in Ireland, if they've already lost hope in finding someone, then, you know, where's the motivation gone? Of course they're not going to be motivated to, you know, go out on a Saturday night and get dolled up and pretend to meet someone, or bug their friends into organising introductions, which is how Feargal and I met, or go to a dating agency or go online. They're just sitting back and kind of doing nothing because they're kind of saying, what's the point?
What's the point?
So
Okay.
for fear of sounding like old father time, which I do on occasion, normally on Saturday and Sunday. But is it so different nowadays in terms of how are you dealing with people who are coming into you who've maybe had bad experiences with various, like the likes of Tinder or whatever, and people have good experiences, but are they coming from a different place by the time they get to you now?
A huge number of people will have tried online, and an awful lot of people actually would never want to go online because of their profession or because they heard bad stories.
Right, okay.
So then, and a lot of the time, the more they try online, if they're on for 5 or 6 years, they can become sort of jaded by the whole process, and they think then, well, everyone must be like that because that's what happened to me 20 times. Or it gets so fickle and transient that they go on, you know, 10 dates a week, and they spend maybe 5 minutes with the person, and they think that, well, that wasn't right because, they didn't dress the way I wanted them to dress, and it becomes really fickle. Whereas, I suppose, with intro, you're coming in, you're spending time, you're taking time, and you're going out on longer dates for a bite to eat, lunch, dinner, and you get to spend proper time with the person to get to know them. But a lot of the people can be, you're right, very jaded by the whole dating process.
But the expectations are so important, aren't they? And you make a good point that the rom-com is the enemy of the dater because, you know, we have this idea, this ideal.
Yeah.
And the meet cute, where, you know, she drops her wallet and he picks it up, you know, that serendipitous type of notion. And the unfortunate thing is people, when they come to us, we always say, for goodness sake, don't expect love at first sight, because it's a really big ask. And it does exist, but it's mainly amongst 17 and 18-year-olds when you're genetically primed to fall madly in love at first sight. But it does happen, but it's a really big ask. And an awful lot of people will kind of say to us, look, I'll know within the first 5 minutes. It'll either hit me or it won't. They'll be for me or they won't. And that is it's a really, really bad attitude to have going into a date.
Your guidelines, give people a chance. Don't judge.
Don't
them.
prejudge. Exactly. Sure, if myself and Rena were to prejudge each other if we were to meet online, I would have said no. Well, she would have said no to me because
I'm a giant.
in
and he's
comparison,
short.
I'd be a short arse compared to what she used to go out with.
But would you have matched yourself if you
So
went
you
through
had
an
met,
agency?
No,
just
we
from a
wouldn't.
viewer's point of view, just so they
Yes.
know, you met through a friend.
No,
so you
my
had
brother.
Feargal's brother was my pal when we were teenagers.
Okay.
And, you know, the first time we met, actually,
I was
Feargal was
11.
11 and I was at a house party in his house. I was 16.
She was 16 there, yeah.
We didn't communicate at
Nothing
that point.
happened
then.
At 10 years. And then we met. We were introduced by his brother. He thought we'd be really suitable. But if we had gone online, we never would have selected each other.
Yeah.
And if we came into our matchmaking company, we never would have been matched either. Because Feargal's the same height as me, if not maybe half an inch shorter.
Whoa,
and I was
go
used to,
easy
this
now.
obsession with much taller guys and all this kind of stuff. So we never would have met. And he never would have gone out with someone almost 5 years older than him because he would have thought, she's too old. She's
But people
a
come
granny.
in, people come in, they say, I went out with someone before and they were separated, and then the ex-wife came back and ruined everything. So I can't meet anyone separated. So they have these huge sweeping generalisations then about everyone else if they had
But
one
the
bad
first
experience.
step is get in touch with people.
Do
like yourself.
something.
And we'll
something.
put all your details up on our
Yes.
website as well.
Brilliant.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you
No,
very
thank
much.
you.
Pleasure.